2024 presidential debate. We got a comeback story. We got a president, former president, who has been impeached, convicted.
Yeah, convicted felon.
All of these things.
Yeah.
And old buddy, my man's looking like he making a heck of a comeback right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is LeBron in Cleveland right now.
We got a rivalry that got built over here, man. We got a rivalry, man.
And hey, if you ask me, it's looking like he's probably going to be a runaway victor. A runaway victor in this whole thing. And for some people, it's what they want. And some people, it's not what they want. And for some people, it's just what we're going to have to accept. And I'm on the side of, this is what we're going to have to accept. Because, and you asked a question before we got started, is this the best we got? Is this our you know what I'm saying, the best that the United States could do as far as presenting world leaders?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you ask me, if he pulls this out, this is almost a story that rivals LeBron. Not really, but
yeah.
Like, they'll talk about a comeback story.
As a presidential story, it will be a very intriguing story, though.
Very intriguing. Very intriguing.
Because you went from being one of the most hated people ever to the new guy coming in, who came in with the benefit of being under Obama, who was this loved figure by a lot, you know. I'm not gonna say everybody, but just as a character, even if you didn't like him politically, he was appreciated as a figure. You know what I mean? Because he was charismatic. He was young. He was the handsome young president who had charisma and stuff. He had that riz about him. But he had the benefit of coming up underneath him and getting some of that residual love. And then he took over, and things kind of ain't been going the way most people like. And a lot of people,
remember Joe Cool, still. Right? He used to be Joe Cool.
He used to be Joe Cool for a little bit. Now, you know, people are starting to feel a little bit of heat from the time he's been in the office, and some people turning on him. Some people still got his back. They like, hey, man, it ain't got nothing to do with him. It's other factors and stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that had his back, in our community especially, you see a lot of black voters kind of starting to be like, hey, man, you know, I felt a little more relief under Trump. I'm about to swing back that way and try that again, you know, before I do another 4 of this. And then, so it's becoming an intriguing story to be like, you watch this guy Trump go from the most hated to a felon to potentially winning this whole thing, because now people are doubling back and becoming a fan of his out of nowhere randomly.
Yeah.
Intriguing story.
Because like you said, like, some people are looking back and saying, you know what? Some of us weren't doing too bad under Trump. Some of us weren't doing too bad under Trump.
I got a partner. Either way, it is what it is.
No, I'm just saying, like, some of us who, like, I was I would say on the military side.
But it's typical for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, for Republican presidents, it's typical for the military to do better under Republican presidents, just historically. Right. It's always been that way.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, one of my homeboys sent me a message after the debate, and it was interesting what he said, because he's a stomped down, diehard Democrat. And he said, I didn't feel none of Trump's decisions in the moment when he was in the office. You hear all the craziness he's saying, and you laugh at that, and it makes a lot of headlines, but I didn't feel none of his decisions. But I feel all of Joe Biden's decisions right now. Every time he make a decision, I feel it these days. And he's converting. And it's amazing to see that you can have lifelong people convert. Like, we got to that point. And maybe, look, we're not even speaking on the actual political moves that people are making and the decisions they're making in office, to be specific. People are just talking on a general level of how life feels. Because that's all any of us care about anyway, is how I feel in my day-to-day life. And when people are starting to feel different, man, something's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, let me ask you this, though. Because I do remember under Trump, there being a feeling of chaos. I do remember that. It was mainly because of the headlines. Yeah. And then his post-presidential run, like after he was, not elected again. We saw some
Right.
more chaos. And is it more so of, you break up with that girlfriend who was, oh, this was
Toxic.
chaos.
Yeah.
Toxic. That's the word. There you go. Toxic. But then you
Yeah.
get with somebody who's, eh, I mean, they ain't as toxic, it don't feel like, but you're not feeling the benefit from it. You feeling maybe a little drained from it. It's
Yeah.
not it's not exciting. And even though that toxicity was toxic, it was still exciting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. It could be some
y'all,
of that.
y'all still went out, y'all still did things and had exciting moments. You know what I'm saying? Your intimate moments was on fire because she was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It could be some of that, bro.
But
It could be some of that. Legit. Where
and
it's just,
and, and,
it
and it's
felt
sitting back
a
like,
more
man, I kind
exciting
of
relationship.
I kind of want that old thing back. Yeah, I know she was a little crazy, but you know, I'll take you know, I'm going back home type of
Yeah.
deal. And maybe that, like maybe not that he was such great of a president to individuals who say I benefited more, or I feel what Biden's putting, saying his policies now, and you're a prisoner of the moment of, what I'm saying, this is not as
Yeah.
great as I was hoping it would be. So let me go back to the ex who was toxic.
Nostalgia
And then you
is
get
a
back in that
mother.
relationship, and then it's like, dang, why did I do this? Why did I go back?
Nostalgia makes you remember stuff better than what it was. You know what I'm saying?
What it
So it
was at the
definitely
moment. Yeah,
could
true.
be some of that, And this is the other thing that we didn't get the benefit of with Trump that we normally get the benefit with most presidents. Because Trump is not a politician by trade, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know how to speak politically as
Oh
a
yeah, no,
figure. So he's a reality guy. So we get a lot of that reality chaos with him.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
we get
Like,
the rawness. Yeah, we don't get the dressed up version. I was listening
yeah,
to some old presidential debates. They were like kind of like flashing back like 2008 versus what we dealing with now,
yeah,
2012 and now. And Mitt Romney's up there, and he's so poetic with what he's saying, and so
right.
on point and political and how he's saying and his approach and how he's speaking what he's
With
speaking.
that,
But
yeah.
yeah, yeah. But does that mean that he was going to be a great president just because
Yeah.
he was able to speak in a
They're
manner that
groomed in
we're
this
used to?
world.
Yeah, being groomed and hearing the way that we're conditioned to hear politicians speak.
Right.
But we don't necessarily get that right now, either even with the president who's been in politics over half his life,
Yeah.
over, what I'm saying.
Right.
So we're not even getting that from him, but we're definitely not getting that from Trump. And it's like, so are we just so accustomed to hearing or being programmed to what politicians are supposed to sound like to be able to say you're not what's the word?
Yeah, you're too controversial of a figure,
Yeah.
and we don't like that. We don't like that. We want you out. You can cause too many issues with that controversy.
But at the same time, it honestly it fits more so of the realm that we're
The
in
times.
today, the
Yeah,
times that
the
we're in.
times.
When you talk
Yeah.
about how we receive media, our sports
Yeah.
analysts, and more
Mhm.
people are not necessarily being programmed to talk like a sports commentator and bring it to you in a what I'm saying, that animated way. Like you remember, like back in the day, you hear somebody on the radio and they're talking like a radio personality,
Yeah.
and they got the radio
Right.
voice, but then when you see them, they don't look like you don't look like, but they have that radio voice, or they're
Right.
commentating, or they're calling the game, and they look like this and they sound like that. Now it's just everybody's normal with how they approach. The same way they would talk on the block, they're talking in
Yeah.
these entertainment forums, whether it's ESPN or it is what it is with Cam and Mason and Gilbert Arenas. Like it's it's just regular now. Even with our musicians and like the way the mystique used to be with, now it's just regular. And now we're getting that with our presidents. It's just
Yeah.
regular guy just speaking regular talk of how he would talk if he's back in whatever Trump Tower he's in with his people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a very great point, and that might be part of the intrigue to this guy. Is that we're in a time where what he does fits
It
what's
fits the mold.
what the world's
Yeah.
into. Yeah, it's a great point. I didn't consider that. Um, I'll say this: that for those of us who still are from an older mindset, it's easy for us to look and say, "Is this the best we got?" Because we look at one guy who's and I'll say this for me personally. This is where I stand, and this goes into conspiracy world. But where I stand is I think the president is the equivalent of the queen. Like you're a figure, and your say
Yeah,
so
just
is
figure it.
limited. You know what I'm saying? You're
Right,
just a
right.
figure. But take the conspiracy out and just look at them as characters and stuff. You do start to wonder. And actually, this is a mute point because they both been president already. So I was about to make the point. You wonder if these guys are going to be able to deal with these type of people in foreign leaders and stuff like that. But
They've already done it.
they
Both of them.
both done
Yeah.
it. They both done it, and we both saw the work that they did. So it really comes down to which one did you enjoy your time with the most, or which one do you feel is more capable? But even that point gets killed because Joe doesn't look like he's going to make it another 4 years when he's up there. It looks like you're voting for Kamala Harris. And when I say Joe ain't going to make it, I'm not saying that Joe's going to pass. I'm just saying that Joe is not going to be in a condition by the third or fourth year to run the country, even if he is around. Like it just don't look like his mind is there.
I'm not as familiar with the whole process, but is Harris not able to run because she's the vice president and he's the president, so he has to? So they're making him run on pretty much on behalf of her. I don't know the process. I'm not familiar.
I don't either, but from my understanding of it is they automatically get the nomination. I mean, they're in office, so if they run again, if they choose to run again, it's automatically.
Like she couldn't run. She couldn't necessarily run as for the presidential bid because she's currently the vice president.
Yes, not unless Joe decides he's going to step down, though. Because Joe doesn't. He's not obligated to a second term, but it looks like he's choosing to go with it.
But I'm saying, like, if he decided not to,
she should be able to run.
She should be able to run.
From my understanding, I think she can run if she wanted to. Yeah, but Joe's got to step down, like, because obviously Joe was the VP. I mean, he had to wait until Obama was done, but once Obama was done, and in this set of circumstances, if Joe was done, then Kamala could run the same way Joe ran.
So
but Kamala's ratings are low. Kamala's ratings are low.
That's what I'm saying. So like, is he running on behalf of her? Because if she ran, she probably would be like, no chance.
Yeah. So it almost seems like secretively she is. She is secretively in a sense.
That could be it. Because I'm sitting here after that watching that debate is like, who in their right mind, to me, right, feels like he's suitable for another 4 years? Come on, man. You over 80. There's not many 80-year-olds I want running anything. Yeah. And I'm not saying like just because you're 80, you're no good at anything, but we're talking about I barely want you driving a car. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. I don't know. Joe couldn't drive me around in a car, so how is he going to the country? That's kind of weird.
There's very limited things I want somebody who's 80, and my grandmother's over 80, and she's sharp as she's sharp. But there's so many things that any average 80-year-old should be doing.
Yeah.
And running the country is not it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You barely want them at your food line or Publix ring you up at the register. Like, I ain't gonna go to their line. I'm gonna go to the young person line. Yeah, they gonna overcharge me. They don't know how to hit the button.
Take too long. I'm gonna be in here for 20 minutes getting checked out.
If I saw Joe at the register and I saw some 18, 19-year-old, I'm going to the 18, 19-year-old register.
I'm going to Kamala line.
Pass up Joe's register.
Check me out.
I'm going to line. I'm going to lane 8. Lane 12 ain't hitting. You know what I'm saying?
That's the crazy part, man. And because this is where the system fails, because the system is, to a degree, it's a popularity contest to get to the nomination. So now these guys are the most popular, but we don't know if they're the most suited. Trump doesn't unite us enough. Even if you like what he did, he doesn't unite us enough. And we're going to go through another 4 years of being divided, even if he gets in. Even if he gets in, let's say everything goes back to jolly and cheerful, it's still going to be the headlines and all the people responding negatively, and the races that side with him are going to come out, you know, even though that's ridiculous, you know, and if Joe gets in, it's going to feel like more of the past. Like, so we're going to lose. Like,
after this presidential debate, and I know we got to press on and get to these final reviews, but what if we get to a point where nobody wants to run for president? Because that's the only thing I can come up to see to say that, hey, this is the only two choices we have: a divisive former president who is polarizing. He is polarizing.
Yeah, very.
People love him, people hate him,
Right.
and very little bit in between. Well, more now in between now because those who would vote for Joe are considering Trump. But
Right.
at the time when you did have uh, valid choices, viable
2020.
choices, you know what I'm saying? You were more polarizing. But could we possibly come to a point to where we might have a presidential run where nobody wants to run for president? Because it feels like to me that nobody wants to run for president. Because there's no way that these two will be the only two on the stage bidding for 2024 election.
No, there were other guys. I don't think we'll get to that point because there were other people. There's always going to be somebody who wants the notoriety and the fame that comes with that. But it's always going to be somebody because you're going to come up and you're going to deal with a lot of stress, but you're going to come up ultimately afterwards. So they're always going to want somebody that
I can see
wants
over the
that.
next 20 years with these kids now, ain't nobody trying to do that.
These kids now,
TikTok.
yeah.
I'm a, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Ain't got time to be on. Nah, man. These kids ain't running for
These
president 20, 30 years from now.
Hey man, that's an interesting take. That's a very interesting take. But in order to get to that point, that's to say that greed and the want for power is going to go away. And I don't know that that'll
It's
ever
gonna
go
go away. I think it is going to go away at that level because are they going to figure out there's an easier way or a better way to be powerful? Because of the TikTok generation, the way they look at fame, the way they look at popularity, the way they look at profit, is
Okay.
different. Before it was about being astute. That's of the past. That's our generation, and up. After
Yeah.
our generation, they're not looking at how astute can you be, and that presidential seat was the most astute
Yeah.
position. I don't think these younger people want it like that. They don't want
That's an
that.
interesting take. That's an interesting take that I can't argue with. But the contrary to it is maybe, just maybe, they won't chase it for that reason. But the next generation, because this generation is on this, they're on
Mhm.
changing the world for the better. So maybe the people that do pursue that will want
Okay,
it to change the world for the better
that
because they
that
own
would be
that
the only.
time.
Yeah, that would be the only thing. But like you said, it's you're
And that's
only a
good if that's the
figure.
case
No, but you're only a figure. So if they start to
to a
really look
degree.
at it like how like you just said, is that me as the president, I don't really have a say in what I'm like. I can't really make things happen. So why am I gonna go be that when I know that I'm just a face? I'm just in position by name. I'm just a power by name. They're
Yeah.
gonna look at it like that and say, "What's the point of me becoming a president?" Because I know that the president doesn't really have the power like that.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting take, man. Time will
I can go
tell.
make impact somewhere else, doing something else.
Yeah.
For
Just on
those people
social
who are
media.
still on that wave, those people on social media, I
Yeah.
have more impact on social media than I have on a platform giving a presidential address.
That's a great counter argument, man. We'll leave it there, man. Great point. Great point.